Welcome to Nova Legends podcast. Well, it's that time of year. It's March, time for March Madness. College March Madness, but also high school. And we're all very excited about the state tournament that's coming up this weekend. We got two undefeated teams in Northern Virginia on the boys' side. We have Hayfield and we have Patriot. And we have a Madison team on the girls' side. It looks overpowering as well. Plus, we have other great teams and coaches that are still alive. Unfortunately, in about 10 days, when we crown champions, we're going to be crowning 12 state champions, 6 on each side. So when we leave Richmond that evening, there's going to be questions that remain in who's the best. So instead of deciding and determining who's the best team in the state, we're going to determine who's the best team in each of the different classifications. And it's going to be an empty feeling. But we've gotten used to that. And we still love high school basketball, but we have to figure out a way to change this. It'll improve the game. It'll improve the brand. It'll make the Virginia High School League tournament better. It'll make public high school basketball better. Starting in 1970, there became 3 classifications. There had been 4 because there was a small classification for really small schools that dropped off, and they created AAA, AA, single A. Triple A, of course, was the biggest schools, down to single A, the smallest schools. And the tournament really worked. First of all, before you even got to state, you had great regional action in each of the different classifications. For us in Northern Virginia, we had the Northern Region tournament, which was a big deal. First of all, it was hard to even qualify. Only 2 teams from each of the 4 districts qualified. And when you got to the regional Final Four, it was at Robinson. It had been in Hayfield early in the 70s, but when Robinson was built, we moved it to Robinson, which holds almost 6,000 people. And it was a great place. It was a social scene. People would come back from college, former players, to watch the games. And every high school player, every kid who watched basketball wanted to be in the Final Four in the Northern Region. Unfortunately, that went away. Obviously, there's still great basketball in the regional, in what we call the regional tournaments now. But the environment that we had for a neutral Final Four tournament at Robinson is no longer around. The state tournament also had radical changes. But in the old days, we had 4 regions in the AAA. We had, besides the Northern Region, we had the Eastern Region, which was Hampton Roads, Norfolk, and the Peninsula, Hampton, Newport News. Then you had Richmond, the Central Region, Richmond, Petersburg. And then we have what was called the Northwest Region, which is basically all the mid-sized and the small cities in the western part of the state, but it also included Prince William County. And so you had teams from Danville, Roanoke, Lynchburg, Halifax, Winchester. You had the Prince William schools like Potomac, Woodbridge, Hilton, Garfield, and that was a very tough region as well. But the Eastern Region was the toughest basketball region. The state titleist had to go through the Eastern Region, and they won the most over the years. They had the strongest squads. They had the most physical style of basketball, and it was one of the things that we talked about in Northern Virginia is whether or not our teams would be ready for the Eastern Region teams. But it was something to look forward to. It's something that we talked about. Could we beat Indian River and Alonzo Mourning? Could we get through Kempsville and J.R. Reed? The Central Region was not as tough as the Eastern Region after the Richmond school split up in the mid to late 80s. And like the Northern Region, that region struggled to win state titleist. Northwest Region did win state championships. Roanoke had good teams. GW Danville won 2 championships in the 90s. Of course, our Potomac from Dumfries won a state championship in 1995. But we knew when you went to state that there were teams, there were the regions that we had to get by. There was tradition, and it meant a lot. And we talked about these things all the time. On the girls' side, Northern Virginia dominated girls basketball for generations. And then I guess starting in the mid 90s, the Eastern Region, and then, with Princess Anne and Hampton very good teams as well. So there's more balance now to girls basketball. But you had to beat the Northern Virginia teams if you're going to win state on the girls' side. These were traditions that helped the brand of Virginia high school like basketball. Well, one day we just decided we're going to have 6 classifications. I'm not sure who decided this, what was the impetus on the decision. It's 2013, and we decided to basically throw the old regions away, create 6 classifications, and I'm not even sure how many districts make up all those classifications, but it changed everything. Some of the best schools that used to be in AAA were actually in the smaller classifications, like schools in Richmond, like John Marshall. Many great schools, great teams are Division 5 instead of Division 6, so they won't play anymore, even though they still can play in districts, because in the districts are in some areas of the state are a combination of teams from different classifications, different divisions. So we destroyed the regions. Everyone wins a trophy, and we have a lot of questions unanswered by the end of the state tournament. That's what we're left with. And when I've talked to coaches and people about it, people have given up. It's never going to change. I've talked to ADs, I've talked to coaches. No one wants this system, but yet it remains. Well, here's the reason why we should go back to 3 classifications and at maximum 4 classifications. First of all, the quality of the basketball team is not changed by shifts of enrollment. A couple hundred there, here or there, aren't going to mean that much to large schools. Now, obviously, if you only have a enrollment of 200 and you double it, it will mean something. So there are places for classifications, but we just don't need 6 on girls and boys. When you have 3 classifications rather than 6, you're going to create more fans of the tournament. The tournament means something because you only have 3 winners, and the winners mean something. When you have 6 winners, it just takes away from your brand. No one really knows who won, who's best, and it's frustrating for fans. So what you've done is you created a tournament that just means something to supporters of the schools that happen to be in a tournament. So like for this year, South Lakes, Patriot, their supporters are thrilled. But folks that used to go to the state tournament just to see the state tournament, they're probably not going to go just to see all the championship games that happen on next Saturday down at VCU. The semifinals, the quarterfinals are at home sites. And to make matters worse, on Friday, on the quarterfinals, every game is at 7:00. They don't even group a couple games in a row so you can watch a doubleheader. You can only watch one game. I don't even know who's making these decisions, but they're just killing the brand of the tournament. Now, by killing the brand of the tournament, you're hurting public school basketball as well. The better the state tournament is, the better high school basketball is, the more the best players want to be a part of it. Grant Hill talked about that. Grant Hill wanted to be at the Final Four at Robinson. That's all he thought about. He never even considered going to Flint Hill. You got to protect your brand. It helps with fans, but it helps with players, and you'll have better teams. One other bone I like to pick with the tournament is at some point they broke up the double headers you used to have. Like every classification had a Final Four. So when I first started going to the state tournament, you'd have the girls AAA would play their Final Four, usually on a Wednesday night. The boys single A would play their Final Four on Thursday morning. The boys double A would play on Thursday evening, and then the boys triple A would play on Friday night. And then all the finals would be on Saturday in order. Well, at some point, someone said, we got to have girl, boy for every game. Well, that sounds like you're trying to be equitable, but what you're doing is you're making people that came to watch the girls tournament watch the boys tournament, and you're making guys who came to watch the boys watch girls. They may not want to do that. They might be there to watch the doubleheader in the tournament they're there to see. So it sounds like a good idea, and let's group the games so it makes sense. So people want to go see a certain doubleheader, they can pay for that doubleheader and then they can leave. They're not forced to stay around all day to watch all the boys' games or all the girls' games. That doesn't make any sense. I know it was well intended, but we need to change that as well. We have to protect the brand of basketball, of the high school state basketball tournament. By doing so, we'll make the state tournament better, but more importantly, we'll make high school basketball better.